thirst beside the river. Wash the journey from your hand. Feel the comfort flow inside you.
Hi, welcome to Healing Outside the Box. I'm your host, Rosemary Lachance, an energy healer and a spiritual advisor and teacher.
Hi, and I'm Carla Augustyn, a spiritual teacher and your co-host.
Tonight we are continuing our Life Explained series, which will give you food for thought information about spirituality based on the teachings of Hans Wilhelm from his series. We will play one or two different DVDs and then have dialogue about it. We encourage you to call or email us or write to NHTV with your questions, and we will answer them on the show or privately if you prefer. This is not a religious show, and no matter what religion or belief you follow, the information we give you will only enhance your beliefs. We do not try to convince you of anything. This series is recorded and will be shown in your area on your local public service cable network. Please contact them for dates and times.
If you have a group that you think would be interested in what we have to offer, we're available to come to your group and teach from the series. We will give you our contact information at the end of the show. Please visit Rosemary's or Hans's website, where you'll find a wealth of information about our show and this series. Our shows are now available for you to watch on YouTube for free. Just go on YouTube and type in Healing Outside the Box to make your choices. We are constantly adding new shows, so keep checking back. We are also on Facebook under Healing Outside the Box. Please like our page for the latest information about our show. We hope you enjoy the show.
Okay, tonight is titled Lucifer's Rebellion, and it is show number 212. And as soon as the control room gets the video up, we will play it, and then we will have discussion about it after.
Hi, I'm Hans Wilhelm, and in this video I would like us to take a closer look at what we can call the single most important event that shaped our life. It happened a long time ago, and it's commonly called the fall, or the fall of angels. We will look what actually happened and how this event still influences our life today.
Let us begin with a look at creation itself. This is a bit problematic because divine creation is a seven-dimensional reality which is well beyond our human comprehension. Therefore, in this video, I'm using mostly the words and descriptions given to us by the spiritual world to help us understand this process and also the divine heavens from which we all once came. Everything is consciousness and energy, which consists of different frequencies or vibrations, and the variety of vibrations or frequencies in this field of energy make up what we call creation, with all its different life forms. Creation is form-giving energy, the highest vibration being love in the spiritual cosmos, and the lowest one is what we call matter, which is also nothing but energy or frequency. The heart of the spiritual cosmos is the primordial central sun. It is surrounded by a rotating structure of 7 suns, the prismatic suns. They each are the center of their own gigantic heavens that have in turn each their 7 subspheres. All these planes, with their unimaginably many solar systems, move in the elliptical orbits around the primordial central sun. All of infinity is in a state of exponential, perpetual motion, continual expansion and evolution. This all is of such spiritual magnitude and dimension that our human mind cannot grasp. All these universes are populated with spiritual life forms like minerals, plants, animals, nature beings, and spiritual beings. When God the Eternal, also called the All-Spirit or Love, brought the All to life and created the pure spiritual suns, worlds, and spiritual beings, He gave His heritage as essence to these spiritual beings, His children. This means that every spirit being of the heavens is the law, and therefore bears infinity in itself as essence in its spiritual atomic structure. Through this, the spirit beings remain in the unity consciousness in God. They sense and act from an awareness of the law, God. Whatever they sense is God's primordial sensation. Whatever they accomplish is God's deed. In this way, they are constantly one with God. However, at the beginning of creation, when conditions were not fully settled yet, there were many spiritual beings who wanted a different creation. Their leader was the first and most beautiful female angel, called Satana, who most of us now know under the name of Satan or Lucifer. She wanted to be like God himself. She also wanted to be omnipresent spirit. The spiritual beings who followed her revolted and created dissonances, thereby contaminating parts of the spiritual planets where they had their heavenly dwellings. This caused quite a disturbance. Parts of the heavenly bodies changed their frequencies and began to reel about. Through the turbulences, the contaminated parts of the spiritual planets were blasted off and flung into the universe, where they then rearranged themselves in zones of lesser light. The spirit beings, who had rebelled against the primordial principle, now became what we can call fall beings. They separated from the unity consciousness from love because they wanted to divide creation. Consequently, they could no longer be sustained by the harmoniously balanced part of the pure heaven. They were no longer of the same vibration or frequency like the spiritual planets, because the eternal law is like attracts like and unlike repels unlike. Meanwhile, the split-off planets had rearranged themselves in the regions of lesser light, and they then attracted those fall beings that corresponded to their lower frequencies. The subsequent changes in light that resulted in a further condensation and a yet deeper fall led to the planets of preparation, the part material worlds, the spheres of purification and full matter, of which planet Earth is part of, right down here. Matter is just crystallized spiritual energy. This all happened eons and eons ago, and it can be assumed that you and I are most likely one of these rebellious spirit beings, these fallen angels, who have misused their free will and have removed themselves from the pure heaven. We are all angels in a self-imposed exile. Like the prodigal son, we left our home on our own free will and then got lost in the temptations of lower frequencies. In this illusion, because it's all temporary, like an illusion. This up here is reality, because that is eternal. Just like the prodigal son, many of us are now ready to turn around and return back into the open arms of the Father, Mother God, who will be welcoming us home. All this time, God has been calling us back home through prophets and messengers, but only few listened. God lives in us. He is the life in us. And if we fulfill His law and of love, we will slowly grow into a free, peaceful, and joyful life. Eventually, we will all return back to our divine home. It is in our hands to determine when we will. And to explain the various facets of our journey home and how God, the love stream, wants to help us with every step we take is the purpose of this video series.
There are many books about this event. For this video, I've mainly used the information from the book Cause and Development of All Illness, which explains it in great detail. I like this particular book because of its straightforwardness. It's easy to understand, even to those who have never read a spiritual book before. You can find out more about this and other books on my recommended book list on my website www.lifeexplained.com. Thank you for watching.
Well,
Yeah.
That's a lot of information, isn't it? Finally finding out why we're here, what happened,
Yes.
what the fall was about, what the Big Bang, as they call the whole thing.
The whole thing, the whole fall of
yeah.
angels, what that means, fallen angels,
Right.
and how it is the single most important event that shaped our life. I mean,
That's
this is huge and continues to affect us.
Yes, it
even
does.
today.
You're right. You're
Yeah.
right. Thank God. God is not mysterious. He wants us to know everything. So he's telling us piece by piece by piece through Hans. And then we try to explain what he says, and have gotten emails from YouTube that they said, I'm glad that you had the explanation because it really helps.
It's
So,
wonderful.
yeah.
And you get emails from all over the world.
All over the
people
world,
should
yeah.
know.
Yeah, they
yeah,
watch
people from all over the world are
more
watching.
and more people are joining my show.
Well, because we want to know, and even if you don't buy into everything, like you always say, it's food for thought.
Right.
That's all it is. It's like, does any of it make sense to you, or do pieces make sense to you?
Exactly.
Yeah, just to help us understand.
That's right. Food for thought.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right. So let's just recap a little bit, okay?
Okay.
In the beginning, there was creation, and we lived in this energy of pure love with God as the supreme being. So some of the spiritual beings, or angels, had a different view of creation, and they followed Satana, who wanted to be like God.
Satana's the one who had the thought. She wanted to be.
She had the thought.
She wanted to be God. She wanted to be the ruler, or she wanted to split it in half. In other words, like a father and a mother.
Okay.
Like a child will go to the mother and say, can I do this? And she says no, so he'll run to the father.
Right.
And then he'll ask him, well, God didn't want it that way. God said, that's going to make confusion and everything else. Let's just I'm just going to be this way, and you're my mate, and you're my love, and you're going to be, well, that wasn't good enough for her. Jeez. I mean, you know, how much more?
All right.
She wanted to be, so she started talking.
But she was one of the angels.
She was, we were all angels.
We were all angels,
Consider
right.
what they consider angels.
But one God.
One God.
Right, and all angels.
Right, and he created beings and gave them all mates.
Okay.
And he made one for himself, and that was Satana.
Oh,
All right, so that was
okay.
his, quote, wife, so to speak.
Okay.
All right, and together they created Christ. That's why the churches will say the only begotten Son. People don't know what that means. They just accept it. That means that he was begotten. He was created with God and Satana, both of them together. There's procreation over there, but not down the very low vibration that we have here. It's a different kind of a thing. That's another show.
All right, so I didn't pick that up from this. That's who she was. I thought she was like another angel.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
Well, she was an angel, so to speak.
Right.
But that's who she is.
Okay, so this whole revolt, it upset the vibration of heaven, and then everybody broke off and all that. So we'll get to that. I have questions about that. But let's start from the beginning. What does he mean when he says creation is a 7-dimension reality?
Okay. Over here on Earth, we see everything's in 3 dimensions, right? 3-dimensional, right? Okay, we see everything like that. Just like when they make the movies for us.
Yes.
Okay, so you don't look at a flat screen. But on the other side, it's 7 dimensions, which we don't know what that looks like. We cannot comprehend. But I can only think that it's got to be, oh my God, so much more beautiful, so much more wonderful, the depths of everything. You know, you can only imagine. Nobody has told us. Nobody can show us a picture or anything like that. But if you think of a 3D movie, and somehow making it even better. So I really don't know what 7 dimensions are like, but it's beyond our imaginations, but it's got to be fantastic.
Okay, so we know that's what but he at least is referring to, like, we have 3 dimensions.
Yeah.
So this is that many more than double.
More.
So
it's
going
to be so beautiful and so wonderful.
Which is like what everybody says when they come back, you know, after a near-death experience.
They don't want to leave.
They don't ever want to leave. Everything is just so much more wonderfully intense. Okay, so he says everything is consciousness and energy. Everything, right, in the universe, all through infinity. So what's he meaning exactly? Like what type of energy? I mean, just everything vibrating, or because the highest vibration is love, right? So, and then everything else for energy is just vibrations.
Well, energy is energy. We're energy.
Okay.
What God God is energy. What God made us from is His energy. That's why we're a part of Him. So it's one big, I don't know if you want to picture a big lump of clay, so to speak. This is energy. And you take a piece of that clay and you make one, you make another, make another.
It's more
something
energy.
like that. But it's not that kind. It's a spiritual energy. It's
right.
When you see a spirit in a movie, when you see the beautiful fine mist, the way it moves like a cartoon, how nice they move in a cartoon. It's like that. Okay, that's the energy. That's what the energy is. Okay, and that's what we were created from. That's why we're brothers and sisters, because we're all created from the same particle structure.
Okay. And that energy really is what connects us.
Right.
Right. That's
everything
why we're all
is energy
connected.
and consciousness, which means self-awareness.
So
Knowing
that's what you mean by
we're doing
consciousness, being
knowing what you're doing all the
self-aware.
time. If people were more self-aware on this planet, things would be so much better. But they're not. So
All right. So consciousness is being conscious,
without
being
self-awareness,
self-aware.
you can't grow. You can't learn.
grow.
No. You can't. You got to be self-aware.
All right, so he talks, this was a new one on me. He talks about the primordial central sun with 7 smaller suns around it. So obviously he's not talking about our sun,
No.
correct? Okay. So what is he talking about? And what are, is he describing heaven? Is he describing home? Is he...
The primordial central sun is... If you think about the largest computer there ever was that we can imagine seeing in movies or whatever here, it's like that, only something that you can't imagine. It's the, like we have our sun for Earth.
Right.
This is the sun that takes care of all the universes. There's more than one universe. This is only our universe, but there's many universes and many planes and levels and places that we go to. So it's the sun for everything. And out of that primordial sun, the particles and all that, that's what we started to grow from and come from and create the matter and the other planets all around, the other universes. It's the core, the heart of it all, where life first started, so to speak. Even God came from that. Even God, the primordial central sun,
From the central sun.
beginning, the it's hard to explain it because people can't imagine, and I can't imagine actually either. It's just what I've read, what I've learned from Hans and I studying together from Universal Life, where everything was revealed, every single thing. So it's like the sun of all suns. But it's not like the sun that's here that burns or anything like that. It's just a big, beautiful thing that controls everything, holds it all together.
Holds everything together, so an energy of vibrations, and then the 7 suns around it are
they're the highest planes there are. When those were created, the 7 suns, he created a male and a female. Well, they call them I can't say it. And a seraphim. A man and a woman.
Okay.
Male and female spirit to be guardians of those 7 planets. Each one, okay? They are the ones who rule in those planets, and those are the highest that you can go to, okay? We come from there. You can live on there, depending on how you go, But they are the ones who live there, and from those planets and from those beings that ruled there came some of the prophets that are here, like Moses, Isaiah, Jeremiah. All Christ, well, Christ came, he's his son. But all these famous prophets that you hear about, they all came from those planes. They were the highest of the high.
Oh, all right. So when he talks in other series about us being on purification spheres, is that moving towards this?
Moving towards, yep.
It is moving towards it. So it is home, then, as he says, or no?
School. It's like if you could use your imagination, you picture a college. Oh, no, let's picture a school.
Right.
1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade, 12 grades, okay?
Right. Okay.
It's like that, only it's 7 times 7, which is 49 planes to go till we get to the heavens, the pure heavens.
All right.
All right?
Okay.
And then from those pure heavens, there's little lesser heavens around that but they're the high vibration, where all and energy will all end up one day.
Okay. We're all going to be there.
Everybody.
Okay, so this infinity then is this area, the primordial sun and the 7 suns, and then all the universes that stemmed out from it. That's
infinity.
That's all infinity.
And infinity means it's forever. It is forever. It will never end. Creation, what happened there, what he did, it's forever. That's why knowing that we are forever, and that's what Christ showed us when he died when he died and came back, and he showed us that that's what we're about. We're not, death is not the end.
This is the illusion, as he says at the end of the video. This is the illusion
that the darkness uses, which is Satana had used. Now, now the all right, go ahead. We will.
Yeah, we're going to get to her soon. Okay. So he says all of infinity is in continual motion, expansion, and evolution. So are we a part of this evolution automatically, or just when we grow, you think, or just when we become self-aware? Are we automatically in this evolution?
Well, yeah, we're in it. It's made for us. We don't evolve here as far as to the higher planes, but it's like there's so much that has to be read. It's like God inhales and he exhales. There's God the Creator and God the Father. And God the Creator is like the primordial sun. He's like in that part of him. And every time he does it, he makes it more. There's more beauty for us to see, more beautiful things that goes on in infinity. Infinity is like forever and unending, always. And we do become part of that as we learn and grow. As we learn and grow, we are able to have more and more and more. People can't imagine what's waiting for them when we get back home. It just, you couldn't imagine it no matter what, and you couldn't handle it because it's such a high vibration. You'd be, in this human body. But
right. But I think that's what's, many people on the spiritual path seek. I think sometimes is that they're on some level craving that feeling again, so they're working on their spirituality, they're working to be more self-aware, to be more conscious, do you know what I mean?
Because we know what it is inside of us, inside of every single person. I don't care who they are, how bad they've acted, behaved, or whatever. They miss the unconditional love that we had in heaven. Yes. We're all looking for that, and we don't even realize we're looking for it. So we try to fulfill it with things on this planet. Enough riches, enough money, enough food, enough sex, enough knowledge will give it to us, and it doesn't, because it only lasts for a short time.
Right.
And then you want something more, and you get that, and it's nice, and then you want something more. Because what we're really craving is that unconditional love, feeling with each other. There's total, complete peace and happiness like we have never known.
And acceptance, So,
and people don't realize that. But the ones who do wake up, and like you said, seeking their spirituality, that's going to get them there faster. Less suffering. Learn now.
Yeah, I think so too.
As long as we're here, learn.
Yeah, right. This is where we learn quickly on this planet. So learn all you can. All right, so you touched on something, but if the universe goes on for infinity, then it does make sense that there are more life forms in other areas, don't you think? I mean, more universes, right?
Yes, more universes.
It's not just our universe and heaven.
Right. No.
There's universes all
Lots
over.
of other planets and planes and everything else. I mean, it's man's cockiness to assume that there's only life on Earth.
Right.
There's nothing else. But there are people who know that there's life on other planets.
Right.
The movies portrayed them as being,
Right.
And the lower life forms sometimes, like from the demon planet and so forth, some of those lower planes, they can come from them too, try to come here. But basically, there are brothers and sisters sent to help us, teach us. I'm sure they're living among us right now. But they could never let themselves be known because scientists would take them in the laboratory and
Right.
cut them up and see what makes them tick.
Right.
Because
right.
man is so arrogant to think that he's the only life form and he's superior.
Right. So you think there's life forms that are here
Yeah, I do.
to help us?
Yes, to
right?
help us.
To actually help
Teach
us.
us.
Right.
And they're learning too. They're learning how we are, some of them.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them already know, and they're here to help us. Because things are going to get rough. One
Right.
day.
Yeah.
The planet
And
needs to be cleansed so we can raise to a higher vibration. So that's another story.
yeah.
There are a lot of stories
Yeah.
in the big city.
All right. So let's talk about Satana.
Okay.
All right. So she's the feminine aspect then of God, right?
Well, she's his like his wife, so to speak, his
Okay.
mate, his dual.
Okay. His dual.
For every male he created a female.
Okay. And so she decided then she wanted to
Be
go-
him. She wanted to rule. She wanted to split it. For her and for him. And you can't do that. You can't have unity when you're splitting like
when
that.
you're splitting.
There's one way. Unconditional love. That's it. No more rules and regulations. That's it. Unconditional love.
All right. So does all negativity, evil, lower vibrations, does it ultimately stem from her? Because if there was creation and everything was going along really hunky-dory, and all of a sudden she kind of wakes up one morning and says, I think I want to split from this. And then everything shakes up, and you know they can't stay in the heavens anymore, and then they're off they go and break off. So where it's like lesser vibration. So does it really ultimately, does evil stem from her? I mean,
Well, yeah, she had the first evil thought.
she had the
Yeah,
first evil thought.
which was-
okay.
I mean, when you have God and you have everything, what wanting more? But see, the matter was not like he said it on the video. It was not as settled yet, completely settled. Everything, and he gave us free will.
So it was really
even to stay in heaven. We free will. We're not prisoners there. We don't have to stay there.
Right.
But it's like with people, you want somebody to love you because they love you. You don't want them to love you because you're forcing them to love you.
Right.
And that's how God's the ultimate like that. And she got that negative thought. And with that, she talked to other spirits, other souls that were there, other angels, as you want to call them. And she recruited one of the top angels, and together they started talking to everybody, just like it happens here,
Right.
and
right.
getting people to follow her.
Yeah.
And pretty soon, and trying to say, let's, like the president, let's overthrow him, let's impeach him, let's and,
right.
and so from that, heaven is a place where you can't have negativity. You can't stay there if you're negative. There's not a negative thought vibration of any kind there. So before everything started, rumbling, like he said, it just started, they had to leave. God bless you. They had to leave, and
Right.
God gave us some places to live. Parts of the planets of the
Said
pure
you have
heavens
to, you
broke
go,
off,
Right. You have to. Right.
and came down, and we started. Of course, when we got here, we didn't come as we came spirit, but then when the body formed, that's where the confusion comes between Darwin theory and ours. When the body formed, it did start to form through amoeba, and then through the animals in the water, then through the animals on land, and then through the plants,
Because of the areas that we eventually, we
were all those things until we came to the roughest of all what you see, cavemen. That was the roughest form of the body. And then the time went on, we got some more smoother and smoother and smoother. So that's
all right.
why.
So ultimately, that was the fall.
Yeah.
Right. That's what he calls it, the
Yep.
fall, and the fallen angels. So it was her decision, her first
she's the one that had
negative thought
that started it. Yeah.
that has tumbled really everything. When you think about it, it does kind of all stem from that. All right, so they wanted a different creation, but I mean, what did they want? I mean, what they had seemingly
Everything.
Perfect love, everything, perfection, unconditional love, perfection. So what could she possibly be offering that others thought sounds good.
No, she would be offering the same thing, but what she wanted from it all is what is so rampant on this earth, in all organized religions, in governments and everything. Control. Control. I want to control.
Oh, so she wanted control over the other angels.
Yeah, she wanted to control.
So things were much freer with originally in creation, where you God's the supreme being, so you obey God. You
obey God, and all he ever asked for is love one another.
Love one another.
The 10 Commandments.
Okay, so that's
but
all.
But they don't all apply in heaven; they only apply on earth.
Right.
But the 10 Commandments is really the first one: love God with all your heart and soul, and love your brothers and sisters as yourself.
Right.
And if we do that, how can we go wrong?
So she was taking control.
She wanted to change it a little bit and see what she could come up with, you know?
So how did she entice them, though? I mean, she didn't say, I want control over you. You know what I mean? Like, so how
we don't know exactly what she said to them, but it was something like, why don't you follow me instead? Think about what people say to other people. Yeah, I can make, you think this is good, I can make it even better.
I can make it better, right. That's what people always write. Right.
And people, they don't know what better could be, but all they know is, hey, maybe.
What do I got to lose? Let me try it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So, okay. So I asked that question. What was she going to do differently? But evil. So when this all started, and she wants control, she couldn't even see what was coming down the pike, in the sense that it wasn't that evil was intended. She just thought, hey, I'm going to go do my own thing, and I'm going to have control over a certain amount of angels and have kind of my own creation.
Yeah, she wasn't like evil, no, at the time, but the thought became...
That one negative thought
Yeah.
is like, that's what just festered and grew through time.
And if I could try to give a little... I can't... give a little picture to show an analogy. A woman is married to this man who's very rich. He has everything money can buy, and he's very kind, and he's very generous, and he's very loving, and he's very everything, And she's happy, but then she starts thinking, well, sees maybe a younger man or sees something, and she leaves him. Or she tries to get his money, that's a little bit of how that kind of a thought came into her head. Well, what could I do with the power? How much more could I do? What could I, it's that kind of a human thought that, well, we call it human. We don't know what it was at that time, but that kind of thought entered her, and she started telling everybody. And then she got that high angel to come with her, and the two of them were like the godfather and his sidekick, so to speak.
Right.
And they started stirring up. And people go, well, why not? Hey, this is fantastic, but maybe we could even have more. How much do we need? How much, this is the way people are on earth. How much do you need?
Right.
How much do you want? How much love can you have? How much money can you have? How many things can you have? So.
Right. So then the heavens couldn't hold this.
No, that's a negative vibration.
That's a negative vibration.
In heaven is all beautiful with love and everything beautiful.
So all of those beings, they fell, literally. They fell.
Lucifer, actually not Lucifer, Michael, the archangel, led them out of the heavens.
Okay.
And when God, the pieces of the planets broke off, they cooled down, and then these spirits were able to go and live on them. And that's how it's go to these different...
They went to the different planets.
And then as the time went on, they became more and more evil thinking, more selfish, more whatever. In their vibration, the bodies started to build up and whatever. And it sank lower and lower and lower and lower.
No, you wonder if they were realizing, oops, this was a mistake.
Yeah, some of them did, because not everyone went as low as we are on Earth.
Okay.
Some of them went just to a certain level, maybe 2 or 3 levels, maybe 1 level, maybe 3 maybe 4 levels, and they stay. And these are our brothers and sisters on the other planes.
Right.
So, there's so much out there. So many, like that movie. Remember we talked about Astral City?
Yes.
That explains one plane where you could go. And there's lots of them like that, where you could go and learn so you can move on. So.
Right.
Anyway. That's
All
what
right.
happened.
So, so evil wasn't intended when they were talking about a second creation, and you just talked a little bit. You answered one of my questions: how did it evolve to this point? Is evil negative energy, negative forces? Is it always a battle, basically against God or against love?
Well, it's against love.
It's
if you're
against
against love,
love.
you're against God.
Right. Okay.
You're not loving yourself or your neighbor as yourself. So it's against God because God is pure love.
And is that the point of evil then? To just be against
It's
God?
an evil is a
basically?
word that we picked, and evil is a word
Right.
that we use here, and then it was never heard of before when God made his creation. None of that was ever heard of before. We just sunk lower and lower and lower, and we gave it the name of evil.
Evil, which
Yeah.
is, okay, so negative energy,
That's what
lower
it was.
vibration,
Yeah.
right? Dark forces, all those kinds of terms then. All right, so it's always kind of like they say, God is the light going away from the light, going away from the source of love, going away from the source of
absolutely.
light.
That's
So
exactly
that's why
what it
we
is.
get more into the darkness.
Right, that's why it's called the
That's
more
why
into
we
the
do it,
darkness.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So when they rebelled, he calls them fall beings, same as fallen angels, right?
angels, yeah.
Okay. So they couldn't stay, and they went to the zones of lesser light, is how he put them. Okay. So we'll say different places or universe. Some came to Earth, this universe, right? Was it random where everybody went? Like everybody just sort of like randomly dispersed, or it was like, no, the people of a lower vibration of this level went here, and then a different vibration.
That's it.
Okay, so you went to the vibration of.
You might some of them might have said, "Wait a minute, I don't think this was right. I don't think I want to do this. I want to get back," so they can stop right there, wherever they are. Say you're falling, and all of a sudden on the third floor they throw you a rope. Okay, stop here. I'm going to wait here. I changed my mind. I don't really want to,
right.
So you stop there. Then you got to work your way up from there.
Right.
Other was keep going down, kept holding that thought, which made him sink lower and lower and lower.
Okay, so where's Earth in all of this then? Are we like?
Well, we named it Earth. It's the bottom planet.
It is the bottom planet.
Below us, there's the demon planet.
Okay.
Where the man who took over for her after, that's another story. I don't know if it's on your questions, but that's another story. But it's a spiritual planet.
All right.
There's no hell. You would call that a hell, but that's not hell.
Okay, so it's
See,
below
the
here.
mixture of what people came up with in their thoughts and imaginations, the movies, the books, the things they had, the theories they had, got mixed up with the truth. And it just...
Right.
And so it takes someone who is spiritual or opens their spirituality or wants their spirituality to grow to discern. That's what will help you to discern.
So we're on a very kind of low vibration planet, right? So you're doing pretty good if you find some peace in your life, if you find some happiness, some joy, like really embrace that. Like you're doing well if you find that, because this is a low vibration planet.
It is.
Yeah.
But people will see there's things that give a lot of people joy. The material things.
Right.
The beauty, the body, fix it up, make it look pure pretty. The clothes, the money, the food. Those are things that people make them happy, but they don't last.
Right.
And we all know we're going to die one day. I mean, it's a heck of a thing to be born to know you're going to die, because you don't know about what happens after. So everyone is afraid. So, yes, you're right. If you can find inner peace and look at all the things that are going on in this world and still be able to find that peace.
Just finding the peace.
Yeah, and not judge everyone and not condemn everyone and not start troubles and go for the drama and all the things that we do that are negative here.
Right.
The negativity forms the evil thinking. And evil is just a word that means low thinking. Committing
That's an
acts
interesting way to say it, describe it.
I mean, people could come up with the most horrid things to do to each other, or animals, or the nature, or the minerals, and they do them. They do them because evil attracts evil, and the beings in spirit who are so low push these people. A lot of people in mental institutions probably 75% of people in mental institutions are just possessed. They're not really mentally ill. And doctors and all that can't tell the difference.
Right.
So
Yeah.
when you think like that, you leave yourself open to possession. You really do.
Oh, all right. So
I don't want to scare anybody, but that's what happens, you know.
Right.
So
Right. Well, because so much, I mean, it makes logical sense. I mean, just so much negative energy is around you, you know.
Right.
So even if you're just take normal life, okay? So even if you're just having a bad day, and if you're not careful, you're going to start taking it out on other people.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to come home and kick the dog kind of thing. And so it's like catching yourself and making it stop. You know, it's just a bad day, and then, you know, not letting it fester, I guess.
Think about this. You're standing there, and you give off a beautiful vibration, soft, white, pretty clouds, and then there's another dark, cloudy, like a cloudy day. Okay, so when you're doing that, what you just said, you're getting angry, you're caught up in the drama, you're protesting, you're hitting somebody, you give up that dark, cloudy energy, and guess what? The negative spirits, the demon spirits, that's oxygen to them. That's, ooh, that makes them stronger, that gives them energy, that, ooh, and the angels, they can't live in that kind, so they have to back away.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, supposing you change, you go to sleep or whatever, and you wake up and what did I do?
Right.
The dark clouds start to dissipate. The white clouds start to form.
The light can come in.
Your angels can come back to you and say, Carla, you know, think about this. All I can do is give people analogies of some kind of
But that's right, so we can understand. Yeah, for sure.
So think of it.
We can understand.
If you think in pictures, we always think in pictures. So if you do that, you can picture that happening. And next time that happens to you, where you get caught up in a crowd and you're doing something bad, think about it. Think about what you're attracting to you. And then they're going to say, do some more, do some more, do some more. Until what happens? You end up in jail. Not them. You. And then they're going to keep on badgering and badgering. So people get with the program.
Yeah.
You know, wake up.
Right.
Recognize yourself.
Right. Release the negative energy.
Yeah.
Let's see now. Okay, so that answers that question, because here on Earth we're the lowest, so I didn't realize that. So the only darker place than Earth is what we refer to as hell, but it's really just the lower world. Is it the underworld?
Yeah, underworld's the lower world.
The underworld.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And that's where he lives now, demon. That's where his reign is, in spirit. He's not in a body. He's in spirit.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
But it's not a place we go and suffer. We may go there because we're attracted to that low vibration, but we're not going to be in a burning fire pit. Even everybody in heaven is going to be able to go back to I'm sorry, everyone in the so-called hell demon planet are going to be able to go back. If
they heal.
Yeah, once they heal.
Once they heal, they'll be able to go back.
Right.
Right? Okay.
Once they wake up.
You
can't be there if nobody can do it for you. You have to do it yourself. You genuinely have to heal yourself of that kind of thinking and acting, so you can rise.
Right.
And rise.
But also be aware that you're never alone.
Right.
So that there is help if you reach out to the angels.
That's right.
Right. If you reach out to God, if you ask for help because you don't want to live a particular way.
Say that again.
Because you don't want to live a particular way.
Right.
Say, if you ask for the help is there.
I know.
That's what's always so amazing to me, is simply asking.
You know what's so sad? People have lost their faith in God, a belief. And a lot of the reason for that is because of what organized religion teaches, of a punishing God. He teaches you to fear God. The Bible's full of that. Fear God. Fear God. God wants animal sacrifices. God wants people sacrifices. Take the blood and give it to him and eat all and kill the animal, do all the... Then in the New Testament, he's a loving God. And people go, well, that doesn't make any sense. Forget that. They go to church and they continue on with the same thing. So they lost their faith. And so they don't believe that there's help for them. They don't believe that things can change. They really don't, and that's sad. But eventually they're all going to have to wake up, because what they don't learn here, they're going to learn on the other side of life. And the longer it takes them, the longer they're going to be away from all that wonderful, unimaginable beauty and love and everything fantastic that's waiting for them. Every single soul will go back. Every single person.
Right. So if we move on from this life and we're really not ready for home, as he calls it, right? Okay. Or heaven. And so we go through different spheres, then it's still a lot better feeling than it is here. I mean, it's
The higher ones, yeah.
Yeah, the higher.
If you can raise yourself up higher.
As long as you're raising yourself up higher.
More and more. And that all is because of your thinking.
Okay.
I mean, even in spirit, you're thinking. You're thinking always.
Right,
You know? Until your thinking and your acting and your sensations and your speaking are all love. Until they're all. It starts with the sensation. Ooh. I kind of want to go out and get bombed tonight and maybe pick up a broad and, or a woman says, I think I want to go out and, that starts with that's a sensation, that feeling. And then you start thinking about what it would be like. And then you go there and you do it and you speak it and you do it and then you do it. Okay, and you wake up next morning and go, oh, I got a hangover. What did I do? Who was that? Who's that sleeping next to me? Oh my God, I don't even know you, so to speak. Okay, that's just an example. But there's a lot of other ways. Especially that's probably one of the least harmless because it's only harming you. But there's other people in governments and people who control other people that actually do these things to other people, and that makes them worse, so much worse. Their karma is so much worse for them. It's one thing to go astray yourself. But it's another more horrible and heavy kind of karma that you reap when you make others people do it. You convince other people.
Yes.
That, then you take other people with you. That, your karma is worse than that.
Yes, yes.
Because now you're responsible for Joe and Jean and Harry and Sam. They're responsible for all of them. So these people don't realize these people in power, what they're doing. What they are doing.
Yeah.
I mean, in power in a church, in power in a government, in power in a foreign land, wherever it is. When you rule and you don't use love to rule, and brotherhood, it's you're going to reap what you sow. That's all it is. And you feel sorry for these people, but at the time you can't because you see how they are, and you just go, oh my God,
Oh yeah, and I mean, I think it's important to, be your own journey, like carry your own journey, so that's not me, that's not my job. Not that I don't care, but I have my world. So I want to be a good family member, good friend, trying to stay on the path.
Trying, yep.
Right, fall off, get back on, fall off,
right,
get back on,
exactly.
that kind of thing. But aiming for it.
That's right.
Just trying to aim for it.
We all fall off.
Yeah, we all fall off.
We
do.
Just come back. That's what another day.
That's just
every
another
day.
day.
You have a new start.
Another day.
You have another chance.
Right.
Another chance.
Right.
Even when you have some illness and somehow you beat it, you're well, you have another chance.
Right.
You have another chance. You have to see that. When I worked in the hospital, I saw people who recognized them, and I was so happy for them because they said, oh my God, I never realized it until this happened. It's making me a different person. It made me cry. It was so wonderful. That's a great thing. Other people just are miserable. But no matter how, if people just realize you're only making it worse for yourself, you're taking yourself with you. Wherever you go, whatever you do, you're only making it worse. So the best thing is pray if you can. Try to open up your spirituality. Just try to do that. And when you fall, like we said, get back up.
Just get back up
on that path again.
Just get back up.
Yeah.
Forgive yourself, because as soon as you recognize what you've done, you're forgiven.
Right.
So just forgive yourself.
Yep. When you're truly sorry.
When you're truly sorry.
You have no karma then.
Right.
And mean it with all your heart and soul.
Right.
You won't have anything to
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
So is this, I mean, it sounds metaphorically like this, almost like the story of Adam and Eve. I mean, is this kind of maybe where Adam and Eve, that story stemmed from, where, you know, they kind of disobeyed and then they had to leave? I mean, it just sounds a little like that.
Well, yeah, if you really want to stretch it, you could.
Right.
You know, because there is no way that God would say, don't eat from this tree.
No, I don't mean that literally, but I mean,
Yeah.
I think, do you think this is where they were, whoever wrote it in the Bible was trying to, in a more comprehensible way, put down how it all happened?
They're trying, but I could never, it just never computed with me, the earth version of Adam and Eve. And God created man and created, and they created a woman for him, and then it said, don't eat from the tree, and there was a serpent in the garden. I mean, if you really stretch your imagination, I guess, but I don't know who came up with that.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, and I don't know what they were thinking. I really can't give you an answer about that, because it never figured to me. Just like it said, God only created Adam and Eve. Together, they made Cain and Abel.
Right.
And that was it. But then Cain killed his brother, but then he went on and got married and had children. Who did he marry?
But I think it does seem a little, like I said, metaphoric, you know, that, not going specifically, but it just sounds a little like one female version broke away, wanted to do something differently, then they had to leave, you know, kind of thing. I mean, for some reason, she got the first negative thought, Satana, and, you know.
Yeah, I see how you.
Do you see what I mean?
You're making the analogy
when
there,
I was listening to this, I'm like, just kind of making exactly an analogy. It was just like, just sort of, you know, just seemed a little that way, and I just wondered if maybe looking at it the other way, that's where the Adam and Eve story actually came from, is trying to describe
every
the story.
answer that they give you from the Bible and the teachings begs another question.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, this is why. Well, why, blah, blah. Why? And and it didn't make sense. And that's why people have a hard time having faith, because there isn't really an answer that is taught that way. The only thing is, like I said, 10 Commandments, the Sermon on the Mount, you follow that. Those are the answers. That's it. That's it. That's all. That's all. Nothing else.
So where
But
does
it's hard.
Where does Satana go? I mean, did she bounce around from universe to universe? Did she go to one particular universe? Or was she
well, she was here, you know, on the earth and ruling with demon. And then when Christ came finally, because through all the negativity that she was causing and talking to the people when it happened, we were starting to become less and less, to the point where we were rotating in the opposite direction, that we might disintegrate. So Christ came. When he came, we didn't listen to the prophets. We killed them, all the ones that came down before Christ. Finally, Christ came. And he was going to teach us. He was going to be here for ages, going to live endlessly on and teach us. But the evil, through the priests, the Sanhedrin, you know, the rabbis and all that, worked through them to get rid of him, because they wanted to be the rulers. There again, control. They wanted to be the ones who controlled everyone. They wanted to be the ones to take over. They didn't want to lose their jobs and what they did. So they caused Pontius Pilate to crucify him. So Christ knew when he was going to die that there's only one thing he could do. And what he did, once he passed over, and he said, it's finished, he knew then he was going to be in spirit. He took a piece of himself, his spirit, a piece of all the light and power that God gave him, and he gave it to each and every one of us on this planet, in all the spheres and all the planes, in all the universes. Everyone got a piece. And when the churches, I guess, where the pictures came from, to pick a Christ with the heart, and there's a little flame in there, that flame is the spark the Christ spark, the God spark, the Christ spark. I think we talked about that.
Yes, we did.
That says you will never disintegrate. You are forever and ever. And one day you will go home. And when we go home, when we pass those, get to those pearly gates, so to speak, we give the spark back. We're in heaven.
Oh,
Whoops.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
Then it all goes back to
What a
Christ.
visual, wow.
But that's what he did for us. People don't realize the sacrifice that he made for us. They do not understand that. They don't realize it because this information has all been kept from them through the various organized religions and teachings. So if you're like me and it doesn't make sense, and that's why I started my journey, and that's where I ended up here and learning all that I did, and then it made sense. Just like reincarnation made sense. All of that. So
You learned with Hans years ago through the Universal
yeah, when I
Life
joined
Church,
it was called the Home Bringing Mission of Jesus Christ. In
Okay.
other words, bringing everybody back home once and for all.
Okay.
No more of this. And we're learning this through a prophetess who God speaks through now and gave us all these teachings that Hans is giving you on his Life Explained videos.
Okay.
And there's a website that I give at the end of my show, as you know, our show.
Yeah.
And then they can read. They can go on there and they can get those books and read them. Some of them are available at Amazon. Some of them are in bookstores. You can read to your heart's content if you have the desire, right, Carla? You know, because you're a very spiritual woman. You know that. That's why you and I click, okay? So all this can be learned. I know you're asking these questions because you're acting as an ambassador for the people out there who have these questions on their mind, but they can't ask us.
Right.
So you're doing this for them.
Right.
Which everybody, you ought to thank Carla for this because she's doing a fantastic job.
And I'm learning too, though.
You're learning a little more,
I'm learning also.
Because you never studied with Universal Life.
I never studied with Universal Life, so I'm definitely learning.
Right.
Yeah.
But you're doing a fantastic job of it. And I'm hoping and praying that we're helping people with this. We have many more DVDs, videos to show, and much, much more going on to try to help and explain.
Right.
And then when it's over, it's over. So, but they'll be on YouTube.
Yep, exactly.
They can see forever, as long as whatever.
Right.
Do you have any more questions about it?
So I think how we doing with time? We're pretty much at the end, right?
Yeah, we've got about another 58, maybe minute. No, maybe less than a minute. Go ahead. Got any more?
Just one more.
Okay.
So it was interesting that Hans said God calls us back home through prophets and messengers, but only a few listened. So basically, is he saying, are we refusing or ignoring help that is always being sent?
Yes.
Help. God is always sending us help.
That's
God
right.
doesn't sit back and say you're on your own. Help comes our way.
All you got to do is ask.
You got to ask.
A heartfelt prayer, you ask. That's it.
And help will come.
Help will come.
It may look differently than you think it's going to look.
Yeah. You don't say, God, do this according to
I've got the answer.
my will. Yeah. Do it according to your will. Help me to accept what that is.
Right. Send me the help.
Yep.
So it will come.
It will.
Yeah.
We have to stop and give the information. Thank you, Carla. It was so wonderful.
Yeah, thank you, Rosemary.
Yeah, together. All right, we're going to get the contact information. To reach me, Rosemary Lachance, phone number 203-627-7966. My email is whitebuffalo8@comcast.net. My website, www.rosemarylachance.com. And the website to find out all this information with these books and these tapes and everything is www.gabriella, which is her name, the prophetess, publishing-house.com. Please do yourself a gigantic favor and go on there and read those books. And for Carla?
Yes, you can reach me at my website at www.carlaaugustyn.com. And you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel under Carla Augustyn.
And you have another show called
Spiritual Invitation. Yes.
And they're up on YouTube also.
Yes.
Okay, folks, we're right at the end. So
all right.
Good night.
Thank you.
We wish you the
Bye-bye.
best. God bless.
As you look out through the window to the world you have made.